Hi and welcome back to the garden. In this video I'm going to be planting out our cosmos little plants into a pot and sharing with you some of our top tips for success. So I'm here with my cosmos plants, and these were sown back in early spring from seed, and they've grown up to be some nice little plants now. And now the risk of frost has passed, we can now be getting those outdoors. And in my case, I'm going to be planting some in this container here. Now these cosmos plants are called Cupcakes Blush, and they are a lovely kind of paper-like flower in shades of pink. So we're going to put about 5 in this kind of size container. Now the soil that I'm using is just a really good multi-purpose compost, and cosmos plants do need good nutrition to keep them flowering all through the summer and up until the first frosts in autumn. So they really are really brilliant plants to give you repetitive flowers and reliable flowers all through the summer and right up until those first frosts. Now I've got a few tips. Now with regards to cosmos, what you can do is once they've got to this kind of size, you can nip out the top. So that just means getting your secateurs. You can always also use your fingers and thumb just to nip it out, and just taking off the growing tip. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to snip it. Those were the seed leaves, they were the first leaves that came, second set and the third set. So I'm just going to nip that just there and just take that out. So we're left with a plant like that. Now that may seem drastic, but there's 2 things that will do. It will focus the energy on producing side shoots at each of these leaf joints. So for every leaf joint there is, you'll get new growth beginning to grow, and that new growth will then form lots of new flowers, and it actually helps to make a bushier plant. And the more side shoots you have, the bushier it's going to be, and also the more flowers you're going to get. So here is one that I did a number of weeks back, and as you can see, that's where the growing tip was cut out, and since then we have side shoots growing from the very top, also from these leaves here, and also these leaves here. So that is what we're aiming for, to produce a bushier plant, because a bushier plant means more flowers, and that's what we want. So in this case, we're going to do 5 in this container, and our other tip is just keep hold of these growing tips that you've just nipped out, because what you can do is, if you want more plants, you can dip that into some hormone rooting powder, get another container with gritty compost, and the reason we use gritty compost is just to aid drainage, because we don't want these cuttings to rot. And then if we nip out that growing tip from this piece, it becomes a perfect cutting. So I'm now just going to pop that right down the side of this container, firm that in, and then when I've continued to do the rest of the cuttings using the tips that I'm taking out, all I will do is give that a good water, pop this polythene bag around the whole pot, and that just keeps in the moisture. If you have an elastic band, you can pop an elastic band on it or some string just to keep that secure, and those tips that you've just converted into cuttings will then produce more plants. So that's a really good way of increasing your stock and utilising what you would normally be throwing away. So let's get on with planting these. So again, I'm just nipping out the growing tip. So I'm going to take out the very top. On this one I'm going to go down to there, and I'm just going to do the same to all of these plants. So I'm taking out that very top. And I'm going to save them for more cuttings. So there we go, I'm going to take that out right down to there. There it goes. And the same with that one, down to there. And that's our 5. And then while I've just got the pot ready to do the cuttings, I'll just quickly get them straight in. So I'll dip them into hormone rooting powder, put them down the side of a pot. And if you don't have the pot ready as you're doing this, just make sure these cuttings are kept in a plastic bag, because you don't want these to lose moisture. As soon as you take these from the plant, they are going to be losing moisture and they do have a potential of dying, and you don't want that. You want to get them either straight into a container or put them straight into a bag to preserve all that moisture. So I'm now going to plant these. And if you remember back to a video that we did on how to fix leggy seedlings, these were the plants that we used. Now these were growing really, really leggy. And what we've been able to do is we've been able to fix that by planting them a lot deeper when it came to transplanting them. And the same thing can be said here. They can be planted a little bit deeper. So that's where the first leaves were. So I'm going to try and get them up to there. And these are going to form some really bushy, beautiful plants that in no time at all will be flowering, and this whole container will be full of beautiful flowers. It's so nice to come out in the garden first thing in the early morning when the birds are happy and singing. Everyone's still tucked up inside the beds. It's nice and quiet. Just gives you that time just to be at peace and just collect your thoughts for the day ahead. So that's it. So 5 is plenty for this kind of container. So with the cosmos planted, all we're going to do now is give it a really good water. When the plants begin to form buds and flowers, what we'll then do is make sure it's being fed on a weekly basis using something like tomato feed or comfrey feed. And that's just a feed that's high in potassium, and that will continue to nourish the plant and encourage all those lovely flowers. And that's what we want. We want flowers. And these are a really great plant if you want flowers that flower all summer long and into the autumn. These are really worthwhile. I hope you've really enjoyed this video on us growing cosmos and sharing our top tips for success. If you have any comments, please drop them in the comments box below. Please give us a like, and if you've not yet subscribed, please subscribe. There are lots and lots of videos like this where we share our thoughts, share our tips, and show you our garden and follow that gardening journey with us. So have a great day, and we will see you very, very soon on the next. In the meantime, please take care.